The Sports Talk, where all opinions are heard, but not always accepted. For the fans who live and die by their teams. For the fans who stay up for those extra innings. The city where going to work isn't just another phrase. Where we live and die by the next swing of the bat. Diehard fans hate us and love us. But feelings have never been held back. You are listening to Detroit Sports Talk with Brett and JT. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of DST. My name's JT Smellick.
And my name is Brett Hebel.
And for this week, we have brought a special guest onto our show for the first time ever. And I'm going to turn it over to him right now and let him tell you a little bit about himself.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is John McCann. Very avid sports lover. Grew up playing sports, started playing, really everything, t-ball, basketball, football, kind of transitioned to, football and basketball in, high school, my kind of strongest things. But, I kind of love all sports, kind of love getting into it, the stories, the drama, my dad always says the best thing about football is you can't fake it, you can't script it. It's not reality TV. It's the best drama you can have. So I'm glad JT and Brett have me here today, so I can be on the podcast and love talking about some sports with you guys.
All right, and so you and me actually have a class together.
Yeah, actually, me and JT go to Specs Howard right now. It's the dream, trying to get somewhere with this and be somewhere one day. So networking, starting somewhere, you got to start from the bottom, like Drake said. So it's good to have people start with you from right here. So it's nice to be with you guys.
All right, well, you're joining us for episode 9 of our DST podcast. And I just wanted to make an apology about our previous podcast. We had some editing difficulties, a little bit of a mess up, a little bit of a tape over. Sorry about that. We'll have everything fixed for this podcast, though. And Brett, we're just going to jump right into it, aren't we?
Yeah, so we're going to start off with some Tigers baseball. A lot of rumors came out earlier this week. First one being Fulmer is apparently being pursued by the Atlanta Braves in the offseason, which I find really interesting because the Braves have arguably the best farm system in baseball. And so I know a lot of people are against trading Fulmer. To me, I wouldn't trade him unless you get a huge package in return. You got to get at least 3 of their top 5 guys, in my opinion.
And they'd have to be 3 of the top 100, which I think the Atlanta Braves have, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd like to put on, I'm not too familiar, but I do know the Braves do have a very strong farm system, and I do know the Tigers, I think, have the top 5 worst farm system.
Definitely. So I think it's definitely improved this
year. It's improved, but I think it's kind of diminished. You can see in the guys that have gotten older over the years, and they haven't really been able to bring too many guys from the farm system, traded off guys, getting big stars in. But I think if they can make a good package, they can get some guys in the system. Yeah. Probably a couple pitchers, maybe second baseman. I think they could, make something.
Yeah.
I'm definitely hesitant about doing that just because I wasn't blown away with any of the trades that I saw this year from Al Avila. But Fulmer is a whole different ballgame because that's the real deal. We're not trying to reach on a trade with Avila and Wilson. This is a stud top baseball pitcher, which can make a big impact on
and he's under team control for 5 years, so
a long time, not getting paid anything. But me personally, I think you're the one that knows probably the most about the Atlanta Braves and their farm system because I'm actually not too familiar with that. So I'm not going to tell you a whole bunch of things that I can tell you what we could get because I don't know that. That's kind of more of going to be your field.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that, being hesitant on the Fulmer trade. You can't trade him unless you're getting something great. It's got to blow, like you said, it's got to blow you away in return.
Yeah.
And so you got to get, I believe their top prospect is an outfield prospect, which
we definitely
we could use.
We didn't get any from the trade deadline.
Yeah. Who was the Tigers' last trade by? They traded to Arizona. Who was that? Who
JD Martinez.
JD went to Arizona.
And it's funny bringing up the trade because Martinez's value has actually gone back to Arizona.
Yeah.
And because he's actually progressed in the last.
He's
he's done a lot better playing for them. So I think you definitely just because of that trade, just because him playing a lot better, it doesn't really look good on Avila's side that's happened.
No, so he's playing better than he did.
Yeah, he's playing.
Traded.
Yeah,
especially with the power numbers.
Yes,
those are
and that's what they need the most.
Yeah.
I agree. So I agree with you, Brett. He's got to do something. He's got to have a sweet deal on the table. He can't just give him up for
exactly,
peanuts.
exactly. And if not, you hold on to him. Nothing wrong with holding on to him.
Exactly.
5 years, for a guy in the league. No, you see him develop, trade value might go
I
up.
mean, you already see what kind of player he can be. So
Exactly.
Yeah. But what he said actually brings me back to something that we had a conversation a few weeks back about the whole JD Martinez trade. And I know this isn't something we wrote down or anything, but I did want to touch on it with you on why you don't trade someone so quickly. All right. So at that moment when the JD trade happened, he maybe a month and a half off his injury, stuff like that. He wasn't too far into the season for him, but I think he hit three or four more home runs before that trade deadline. I think it was 3. If you waited before and went right to the edge of that trade deadline, and he had those extra 3 home runs, you never know what more you could have gotten out of him. That's why I thought if Arizona really wanted him, then if he hit 3 more home runs for us, I think at that trade deadline they would have anteed up for that best prospect on their team.
But to be fair, that can go both ways.
It can go both ways.
He could risk an injury or something like that, and then it diminishes his value.
That is something you run the risk of. But I mean, I would agree with that only if we got more in return. Because I feel like what we got was so low, it couldn't have hurt us anymore.
Well, for me personally, I just think that I know we talked about it in one of our podcasts. I think that if you wait too long, I think it almost drops him a little bit. Yeah, he can hit a couple more home runs here and there, but at the same time, you become desperate. And like we mentioned, Avila had already made it known that he needed to be traded. We weren't going to sign him in the offseason.
And that was one of the biggest mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. So teams already knew.
Making anything public hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
That's what we were.
It always does.
That's what we were saying.
That's why guys, when you hear rumors leak and this leaks and he said that and one camp's not talking, the guy's not really saying much. He's made these statements. He's under contract here. It's
exactly
makes it difficult for guys.
See, that's how I feel about Al Avila. It's like you don't ever want to go play poker with him because the moment he gets a good hand, he's gonna be like, "Oh, guys, everyone go all in. Watch this."
See it on his expression in his face.
Yeah,
right,
so I mean,
right.
like
best poker face.
Yeah,
exactly.
Love playing with.
That's what I loved about Dombrowski was like just out of nowhere, magic tricks was happening. Like he would pull off sweet deals. Like all of a sudden,
that nobody saw coming.
Austin Jackson's all of a sudden walking off the field. What could possibly be happening? It was a sick deal that got made.
Yeah, and nobody projected that we were going to get him.
I know exactly. Like Fulmer, like who the hell saw us trading at that trade deadline, like just like that, and then him getting fired? Like that was an impressive thing he managed to pull off, and I think he would have traded more if he wasn't let go.
Yeah. So next we'll talk about the JV trade. There's rumors apparently that the Astros are interested again in JV. As we know, he was placed on the waivers just this past week and he cleared. So now he can be traded to any team before August 31st, which makes him eligible for the playoffs.
Yes.
And so the Astros apparently, who were interested before the trade deadline, are now supposedly interested again.
Yes. Now there was a report that did come out today from USA Today that it's unlikely to happen, but the possibility is always there. I think that the Astros, as much as I did pick them to win it all, I don't think they can do it anymore, and I don't think the JV.
Yeah, they disappointed at the trade deadline. They needed to go out there and get a starting pitcher.
They disappointed, but they also, Gaddis got hurt, and they had, I think, another pitcher go down. McCullers, yeah, and then so.
And Keuchel's been in and out too.
Yep, and so I mean, just I think the injury bugs.
And you got Carlos Correa also on the
he's hurt, and so I just feel like all those things because I follow all their games, and just it's not the same Astros team anymore, and I think they know that.
Me personally, I still think they can make it to the World Series.
I think they could, but I mean,
they definitely won't win it in my opinion. And they needed a starting pitcher and a bullpen pitcher, and they only got Francisco Liriano, who they put in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And the rumors I heard is that they tried to get Zach Britton, who is one of the best closers in the league for Baltimore Orioles. They had a deal in place, but then apparently, I believe it was their owner or somebody just said, no, we're not trading Zach Britton, which makes zero sense to me from an Orioles standpoint. But so they tried. The Astros tried, but they didn't succeed, obviously.
Did you want?
I was just gonna, more on you because the Astros are your team apparently. I was thinking, we all know JV, Detroit guy, legend, all the shutouts, no hitters, stats. He's on the better side of 34 right now.
Yeah, somewhere.
Would a trade to the Astros give them any improvement in the playoffs?
Yes.
Do you think? Okay,
I definitely think so as well.
I truly believe that in the fact that
But also, he also said they need bullpen depth, and I know the Tigers are not very strong there
No,
because
they're
they have
not.
a very weak.
The Astros were after Wilson, but they traded Wilson to the
Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, to the Cubs.
Okay.
So that was gone.
Because I'm just thinking, even if Astros really wanted JV and he can help, because that's really what I wanted to get on with you. Could Detroit really find something in the bullpen to really give them a value, and could they get something back? From the Astros, do they have anything strong that?
The Astros have an amazing farm system.
Okay.
I'll tell you that right now. Like one of the best in baseball. So any trade with that's why I wanted to.
And I have seen them build through their farm system.
I said it 2 years ago when they were a terrible team. I was like, this team is going to be so exciting to watch in a few years. And here we are. And I said before the season, I said I'm picking them to win it all. I followed through with them, but there comes a time where those prospects have to be moved. And while I wasn't frustrated with the fact that they didn't move anyone from the team, really, I was disappointed that Justin Wilson didn't get traded there, or he's probably not going to get dealt there, because I would love to watch a Tiger of mine on my team that can no longer compete go to that team that I wanted to win and win it all.
Yeah.
But the Astros are really good. They don't have the depth, I think, right now to do it, because they do need another starter. They do need help in the bullpen. So I feel like without the JV trade, and as you said, we can't offer them anything in form of bullpen or anything. I do feel that the Astros are kind of screwed when it comes to making a deep run. They can make it to the World Series, I think, but I think when it comes down to it, they don't have the depth to win anymore.
Yeah, and I think JV, in my opinion, definitely makes them better, and I think it makes them, because even JV's been good over his last, I think, 4 starts now.
Yeah.
And even though he's been up and down this season, he has that experience.
Yeah.
He's that bulldog. He can go long in innings, and he's got the playoff experience and the World Series experience.
And I think sometimes on a young team, that's what you need.
Exactly.
Yeah,
especially with a young group,
yes.
you need, especially JV. Having that guy, that's like having. I'm not going to say Nolan Ryan. I'm just having a guy who's got MVPs.
Now,
got numbers.
He's very outgoing and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to want it for the team. So.
I always thought Justin would go to the Dodgers. I always saw him as that. That was the the spotlight, the big names, stuff like that. I still think one day he will make his way there, but
I think Clayton Kershaw, him being the top dog, I don't think they're willing to pay them both.
Yeah,
250 plus.
I agree.
Well,
pitching.
The only way I could see that happening would have to be through the trade where the
Yeah.
Tigers would eat a lot of that salary, because the Dodgers need to win now.
That's why they got Hideki Matsui. That's
Yes.
that's why they picked him up at the trade deadline.
Yes,
They
and
really
because they
need
got
help.
Cody Bellinger playing his ass off.
And I've always thought with the Dodgers, I've always watched them in the offseason. The playoffs, excuse me. And they always win in the regular season. They're always an exciting team. They're always built there. But once they get to the playoffs,
you're good.
Their pitching seems to diminish because Kershaw
Claim would always choke.
Yeah.
I think
over last year he did get over the choking
over the
status. I think more of his motor going down was the bulk of it, because I think he started out of those series. I want to say isn't normally for pitching starter starts when game 1,
Yeah.
and then by game 3 I want to say he starts, or game 4.
I think it's game 4.
Yeah.
I
Depends on how the series is
Yeah,
going.
depending
if
on how the
win or
series.
something, you'll throw him back out there.
And knowing the Dodgers, their starting pitching wasn't that strong. They had him start game 1s and 3s a lot, so that's putting a lot of stress.
Their offense is going MIA sometimes,
Yeah.
but that's where I feel like everything's coming. If I had to pick right now, based on, because the Dodgers in their last 50 games are 43-7.
Yep.
All right. So,
that's the best run since 1912.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
saw that
That
as
is
well.
an insane run. I literally didn't even know they were
That's
in the middle
crazy.
of that run.
That's
And
ridiculous.
so I have to admit, if Cody Bellinger keeps playing how he is, I trust Clayton Kershaw. I think he's over the hump now.
Okay.
Even though he is on the DL.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think he'll come back. He's been hurt before. He never seems to phase
I think
him.
it's more. I think his injuries on the DL are never. They're more. Wear and tear from his arm.
And they're just trying
it's
to make
more
sure he's
precautionary.
Precautionary.
for the
Yeah, let's
playoffs,
keep him down. Let's get his arm a
we
little
don't-
rested.
Especially, they've already got it locked up. So.
Oh yeah, they got it.
They
man.
ran away with that. But no, so that'll be really exciting to talk about and see where that goes throughout this year, because the Dodgers, they remind me of the LA Clippers, where it's that team that's always consistently good but doesn't have that piece, or that just can't
That
seem
one thing.
that one
could
thing to
them
get
there.
them over. So I honestly, I never, I always tell myself that they remind me of the Nationals as well. but I honestly think that this could be the year they do it.
Well, so do you think getting Hugh Darvish at the trade deadline is that piece, that missing piece?
I think it can be. Yeah,
I think
Yeah,
it
you
is too.
Darvish. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
that's who you're
That's
talking about.
that's
yeah.
what I meant. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm
No, it's
not
not.
sure. Yeah, you
It's not too
Darvish.
bad. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. What was you Darvish? Wasn't his last 4 or 5 games really good? Like he was pitching very well near the trade deadline.
Well, there was one game he had where he let up 10 runs in
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah, that
innings.
was
But
the
mine,
best.
See,
mine was
that's you Darvish for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since he's came in the league, I've recognized his pitching. It's not as consistent as you really want it to be because there are those games he gives up 7, 8 runs,
right.
and it's
It's like a JV this year almost.
yeah, it's out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But he's a good enough pitcher. He can recover, and I think being on this team, him not being the guy, him not having being the man.
See, that's where I thought it was going to be the same for. Okay, so while I say JV's having an amazingly down year, I think if he got traded to the Dodgers or the Astros, I think it becomes that the whole mentality.
Yeah, the whole being
change.
the ace.
Yeah.
You know.
You look at the environment as well. It's,
Exactly.
You're winning.
Not just being the ace, but I mean the fact that you're all of a sudden now competing for the World Series that you've wanted for so long. You've come so close so many times, and so the fact that fresh start, brand new team, you don't have to sit there and be like, oh my god, am I gonna lose 1-0 again tonight, and get that loss? No, you're going to a very good team. They're contending. They're a lot well-rounded team.
Very good defensive.
So I mean, just because you're a average pitcher like Hugh Darvish, not average, but I mean a solid pitcher like Hugh Darvish and JV.
Slightly above.
Yeah.
You put him in. You wouldn't put him in the elite, but you
No.
put him in the above average.
Exactly. And you're,
Second guy in rotation. Second, third guy in
yeah,
rotation.
That next
and,
tier.
Yeah.
and you're going to that team that's competing, and then it's all right, it's not me anymore. This is my team. I got Clayton Kershaw, being the front runner, and I got to back him up, and it just takes a lot of pressure off. And I think if Hugh Darvish will do good there, I think JV would have done good there, and I think JV would do good in Houston.
Yeah, I agree. I think, in my opinion, we did our predictions I think it was about a couple months ago now, and I know we both predicted the same thing, Astros and Dodgers in the World Series. I know I had Dodgers winning it. I think you had Astros winning it.
Of course.
So, I mean, it's still a very possible
It is,
scenario.
yes.
Hey man, baseball. I know. Just watching it growing up, I know it's the one sport that it's not basketball, it's not football, because it's just a different game. This is a very different game.
very
The playoffs,
strategic.
and the playoffs are different.
The playoffs, that
It's-
is a whole new breed.
The playoffs of the NBA and NFL are kind of skewed. You can see, who's going to win.
yeah, who's gonna
Matchups
go,
kind of win.
yeah.
But baseball, you have an off night. You have a couple off nights. That series can take hand either
Exactly,
way.
and
Absolutely.
the Giants, how they handled Madison Bumgarner when they had him come pitch out of the bullpen for that game to win them their last World Series. That's the type of stuff that you just can't see anywhere else. You can't see that in hockey. You can't see that in football, basketball. That was an insane move. Or Aroldis Chapman, coming for the Cubs.
Which I thought was a great.
Yeah.
That literally
That
that said we're going for it.
Yeah.
This year.
That was that missing piece they
That
needed.
was.
Yeah. And having him pitch those extra innings. It's those are the decisions that can
That can win you or
Exactly.
Make or break.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's why it's such you can't say one team's going to win or lose because one pitcher, one missed pitch, that's all you need. It could be a 3-run home run, changes the entire series. Rajay Davis for the
Cleveland Indians.
yeah, for the Tribe last year. They thought they had it wrapped up, and here comes Rajay Davis. Was it to pinch hit? I don't
can't
think
remember,
he
honestly.
started. I think
It
they
might
had,
have been. I honestly can't remember.
I think they had him come in to pinch hit, and then here's your pinch hitter hitting it out of the park, and he brings them back into the game. So that's the stuff that's what makes baseball so great.
Yeah, that was one of the most exciting World Series.
that
in
was
a
a
while.
very
Chess move.
Yeah.
it really was. All right, let's move on. Next topic.
Next, we're going to get into a little bit of Pistons talk here. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but rumors have come out, and Stan Van Gundy has actually said it himself that they actually are very interested in Kyrie Irving. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to tell both of you right now. When I hear really interested in the NBA, it's basically it's not that true. I feel like there's only a few teams that are truly interested. Because
Right, I mean, everybody wants a guy like Kyrie Irving.
Exactly. So when I hear someone's interested, I'm like, well, yeah, everyone's interested in Kyrie Irving. But the more I hear about it, because the Pistons, normally that's something you hear, but then the talks fade. And I've only heard the talks keep going with the Pistons. Now, I'm not saying they're going to get him, but wow, that would be pretty cool if they got him. What a game changer that would be for the right price.
Absolutely.
I think and following the NBA and NFL, not just as a league, just as a business, I follow really. I also love the the off season, the moves. The,
Yeah,
What an
I
exciting
I love the.
offseason this
I
was.
really
What
do.
do you-
I really do enjoy
hang
the
on,
business side.
Let's take we'll stop the Kyrie talk for one moment. What do you think about the offseason this year?
Oh man, I love the offseason. I think it's funny because I've heard the last reports, like the last two off seasons. This is gonna be it. And this is gonna be the off season. I think this NBA off season has
Change
has
the
actually.
landscape.
I think it's actually that's definitely changed the landscape of the league. When you really said, "Oh, these moves here, these moves have definitely changed," because it's not guys. It's just not guys moving. It's superstars moving.
Exactly.
It's Paul George going to Oklahoma. It's Chris Paul winning out of LA, going to Houston. It's this crazy Kyrie talk. We're hearing. It's Jimmy Butler going to the Wolves. Are they going to be a top 5
Like you
team?
don't think these things would ever happen? Like
You definitely didn't.
You asked me last season. I was like, Jimmy Butler leaving? No, he's going to be the future star of Chicago.
Jimmy Butler trade talks I knew were happening to the Wolves for what
Not
he got.
to the like that's
Steal.
insane.
Yeah,
Steal,
that's
rob.
insane.
amazing.
The Bulls got
Rob.
destroyed with that trade.
All right, back on this Kyrie talk though.
Yeah, back on the Kyrie talk, but yeah, knowing the landscape of the NBA and just knowing the business side of it, when you hear talks, rumors, a lot of guys want
Right.
these guys, these rumors out.
Yeah.
Agents will talk to a couple reporters. They'll say have a bit conversation. They'll just say some stuff. If it's not interesting to me unless I see the pieces.
Yes.
And I can see value, and I can see trade, and I can see assets, and I can see okay, that makes sense. Where this could go somewhere. Pistons are not really looking, them going anywhere. Consistently coming not really good in the drafting well.
What did you think of the Luke Kennard pick?
I actually did like the Luke
Okay, good.
Kennard pick
All right,
because
we both liked it.
I actually watched Duke basketball.
Right. Big Duke fan.
Yeah, big, huge. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I love Duke basketball. Watched them, and the white boy actually does have game. I will say that.
He can shoot,
He does
yes.
have game. Yeah, I just don't see the Pistons really having the assets. They kind of get out of the top 8, which is really where nowadays you're going to find the best guys to really play. Sometimes you might find that diamond in the rough out of that, but it's kind of hard. But
Yes.
Pistons, it's murky waters. I think Kyrie just wants, hey, value. Hey, these guys want me. He just wants some leverage, some leverage to have.
I think the Pistons actually have a better. I'm not saying it's a high chance, but a better chance than they normally do in just the fact that Kyrie's not happy where he's at. All right. So the season, I don't think you can start the season with Kyrie on your team.
No, I think you'll see him be traded in the next 2-3 weeks.
Yes,
in my opinion.
because I feel like there's been so much said, so many. Neither camps.
Yeah, there's
come
a lot
out
of tension.
Like,
There's
I
a
feel
lot
like-
of not talking.
Exactly.
Right.
I feel like it's so high that Kyrie cannot be on that team.
He won't. He guaranteed
There are even analysts who talk, and I've seen, and they said, Kyrie's got to be traded definitely before the season because guys are going to be on Bron's side, guys might be on Kyrie's side. You can't have that.
Exactly.
You can't have that.
So what I'm thinking is, I'm not going to say they're going to get him, but it definitely increases their chances because now you're forcing their hand because now they have to trade him. So I mean, you don't have to exactly have the best trade for Kyrie's sake.
Of course.
But I mean, at the same time, don't try to trade for him if Kyrie is going to tell you, "Listen, man, I don't want to stay here."
Which he has said he's not
Exactly.
contractually
He's not
agreeing
gonna
to
be
any
loyal
team he's
to
going
anyone.
to
Which
after
drops
his contract.
which drops the
Which
Cavaliers'
definitely,
return.
definitely drops the value of what they get in return. But I think that's none of Kyrie's concern. He just is very
Right.
pleased.
Cavs
and
aren't on
happy.
his mind really anymore.
All right, I have a question for both of you.
Yes.
Is he worth the risk to acquire and just the attempt to have a superstar 26-year-old point guard, have him be your future, but he could leave?
I'll say these names. John Wall, Isaiah Thomas, Steph Curry. Three things you can say a lot differently about these guys. Three things they do differently. I'm looking in the perspective of Kyrie Irving's, eyes and saying, John Wall hasn't hit the big shots I have.
Yeah.
Why am I not leading the team? Isaiah Thomas is 5'9", averaging
Right.
29. Why can't I lead my team? Steph Curry doesn't have the handles I have. Steph Curry doesn't have the killer, Steph Curry doesn't have the game I have, the handle to, get into the rim. He just shoots.
Yeah.
He thinks he's a better player. So in that regard, I understand where he's coming from. So I think, yes. In a sense that, and people, I'm hearing, he hasn't won with Bron. And I'll say this, because I actually wanted to bring this up on this podcast. He's 19, 20, and 21. In those 3 drafts, they drafted Deion Waiters, who we did not get along with, very bad tension, very bad chemistry, and they drafted Anthony Bennett number 1, which is probably the worst draft pick since Kwame Brown, by the way. And by the time Braun even came back, they drafted Andrew Wiggins, acquired Kevin Love, traded him for Kevin Love to acquire him, and kind of built the team. So in a sense, I don't think we've even seen what Kyrie can do. So I think he definitely, if he's on the level of the guys I just said, then I think he's got he deserves at least a chance to be the main guy.
Agreed. But what about from a Pistons fan standpoint? Are you willing to lose, let's say, Drummond, Reggie, Stanley, and a first-round pick? Are you willing to lose those 3 players at an attempt to have Kyrie Irving?
That is where
and
might
someone
be too
else.
rich for me. That might be too rich for me. Because I wouldn't even say you got to get rid of all 3 of those guys. I'd say I'd keep Reggie. I don't even know if the Cavs would really be interested in Drummond, to be honest. Their center position and his contract would be huge.
The reason I bring up those names was because of the 3-team trade talk that went on with the Clippers, and that would have sent. What was the exact trade?
Yeah, so ESPN came out with rumored trades that could possibly happen. So it would be a 3-way trade with the Pistons, Cavs, and Clippers. So we would have Drummond, Stanley Johnson, and a first-round pick going to the Clippers, while Kyrie and Tristan Thompson come to the Pistons. And then the Cavs get DeAndre Jordan and Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, and I do remember JT actually brought that up to me earlier, and I did see that. So say it again. You say Drummond's moving to LA,
right? Along with Stanley Johnson and a Pistons first-round pick.
And where's DeAndre Jordan get moved in this?
Yes, he goes to the Cavaliers.
He goes to the Cavaliers. Okay.
And we get Tristan.
I think actually that could work. That actually, I really wouldn't mind giving up because
you'd be willing to do that. But hang on, you don't know if I just want you to know you don't know if he's going to sign.
And that's where I draw the line.
I think for those 2 guys, I'd be willing to take that risk. I think for Tristan Thompson and Kyrie Irving, I'd be willing from getting back Stanley Johnson and Andre Drummond. That at least puts you somewhere in the East. You're winning right now. You're winning right now in the East. You're playing good basketball. You get rid of a guy who may not reach his potential.
Exactly.
And you have a guy who may have reached his potential.
Right.
So.
Yeah, see, that's how I feel too, because I was talking about this with my dad last night. He told me no way, not for that much. And I said, well, hang on a moment. You tell me how many teams are able to win without that star player. All right? If you're telling me for a second I can have that star player, and a star player, may I remind you, that's only 26 and can't stand.
Not even 26.
Not even, he's almost 26. And he cannot stand being in LeBron's shadow. So obviously he wants to lead the charge with his own team. So if Van Gundy can promise him, listen, I'm going to do everything I can. I have Luke Kennard here, all right? I'm doing everything I can do for you to be the star of my team. And I'm going to build around you, and you will be the star of the future.
Like, you're right. I got Kai, you're running point. I got Luke. I got Tobias. I feel like they could pick up a couple pieces if they made a couple more moves.
They have some more salary.
Yeah, they got more salary cap and cap room. Yeah, they could pick a decent team.
I mean, you got free agents looking at the team like, man, if I go there, I could really make this team something special. And we're in the East.
And I even heard there was a guy who was a point guard in the East who said, I don't really like playing against Kyrie Irving, but exactly. Damn, I'd love to have him on my team. Yeah. So the starting point guard for the East is saying that,
To me, I think he's worth the risk. I mean, I think you got to talk to him beforehand and kind of almost convince him, like, hey, you got to at least promise us you're willing to negotiate.
Give us an attempt on this.
Right. You're willing to come here and make it work.
Yeah, right. You're not coming here just because you've been traded. You actually want to make an attempt here.
Yeah, we don't, because it's like, to me, it's not worth it if you're going to give up all those pieces and get Kyrie Irving for 1 year. It's the same thing with Avery Bradley. We passed on KCP, we got rid of Marcus Morris, and if you get Avery Bradley for 1 year because his contract's up after this year and you don't sign him back, well then, what's the point?
It's terrible, yes. But see, what I'm glad to hear about Avery Bradley is like as you said, it appears they have already talked before. It seems Avery Bradley wants to be here. Right. Avery Bradley wants to help Detroit. So I mean, that's what I'm going to need to see is another one of those type of deals.
So if you kind of work it out like that, then I feel absolutely. I mean, that's a steal in my opinion because you get rid of 2 high contracts that, as of right now, aren't living up to it. You get rid of Stanley Johnson, who had a solid first year for a rookie, but couldn't get out of the doghouse last year, and then a first-round pick. But if you look at it, I mean, Kyrie and Tristan Thompson are better than any first-round pick you could get in the future.
Exactly, and that's what my dad told me. He's like, I'm not giving up a first-round pick. I'm like, why would you give why wouldn't you give up a first-round pick for a guaranteed talent?
Unproven versus
Exactly,
a guaranteed
or
talent.
for the chance to have that.
And you
grade.
might not even get a lottery pick. You might have,
Exactly.
you might
Exactly.
fall out, and you might have possibility of being at the end of the lottery,
Especially in a weak East.
In the weak East, yeah, it's not really good. And the odds just don't ever stack up. But what I kind of wanted to jump on with you guys, it's kind of funny just to bring up with Avery Bradley. He even has high regard for Kyrie Irving. He says
Yes.
that's the hardest guy.
I
ever
wanted
in
to
the
talk
guard.
about that myself.
And even Kyrie Irving has great respect for him and saying that's the guy who plays the best defense on me.
Yeah.
And just in my mind, I just imagine those two guys.
That backcourt
would be amazing.
That'd
I
be
mean,
amazing.
Avery Bradley may not be all first team, but he's gotten defensive voting.
I think he's an upgrade over KCP.
Oh, yeah.
He's better than KCP, I feel. And then you'd have Tobias Harris, you'd have Luke Kennard, you'd have Avery Bradley and Kyrie Irving. Those four right there, that excites me.
And your bench isn't that bad either because you got guys like Ish Smith and John Lure.
And Ish Smith can definitely run it.
He
And
can
Ish
move
Smith has
that
proven.
ball.
Right.
Ish Smith has proven he can run definitely the second team. for
And
sure.
we've seen Ellenson. I mean, in the summer league this year,
John
he put
Lure's
up
not a bad
a
pickup.
lot of great
Lure, yeah.
stats. So I think if you put Ellenson on the bench and kind of give him that second team rep, I think he can maybe develop into something.
It's all about minutes, honestly. Playing basketball is all
Right.
about minutes. You got to get the guys out there, give them experience. They're never really going to learn any other way.
Exactly.
And there was no spot for Ellenson last year.
Exactly, and that's why I was kind of frustrated when people were bagging on him. I was like, all right, one, this is a weak draft class. All right, we already know
Yeah.
that. And two, the kid obviously wasn't going to get a spot or get much time at all this season. So, I mean, before you're calling him out all of a sudden, give him one more year and let's actually see, now that this roster is shaped up a little bit, we can see what he can do. I cannot stand the teams or the analysts that think the Pistons are somehow worse over losing KCP. And
I think it was
losing Lawrence.
mostly them looking at a diminished East and them even being an A seed. We thought we were going to, improve, maybe get sixth, maybe fifth. It wasn't that strong on the East again
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
So them falling completely out of the playoffs was just a huge
Yeah, nobody
step
saw it
backwards.
coming. Yeah.
It was. But at the same time, we weren't ready for Reggie Jackson to just all of a sudden drop off the face of the
Yeah,
earth.
he did get hurt first
Yeah.
25 games, 30 games.
Yeah,
that was,
and
that was a big
that-
loss.
According to players, it threw off the chemistry because
Yeah.
Smith's a
Yeah,
pass
because-
first and Reggie's kind of more of a shoot.
Yeah,
guy.
he's
Pick
more
and
of a
roll.
combo guard, pick
Yeah.
and roll, come
Right.
off screens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, at the same time, so like they had to deal with a lot of adversity last year, and so I feel like at least giving them one more half this year, it'd be really exciting, especially.
And I've also felt like, I don't want to get too much on this topic, but just really quick, I've also felt like Stan Van Gundy's tenure, he's never really had a very healthy point guard
Yes.
complete year, and his system actually runs well when
You saw it. You saw it
when
with
it's
Reggie.
Right.
when a point guard runs, the in and out. And,
Yeah,
exactly.
the big man gets his points. He's working the paint. He has his own zone. He's down there.
Mm-hmm.
You got guys outside shooting.
Yep.
So I think it just comes down to chemistry and them getting, the points.
Keeping the same team
keeping the
for a
same
little bit.
team. Because they transitioned from BJ to
Yeah.
Reggie, from Reggie
Steve
getting
Blake was
Steve
running
Blake.
around.
It just hasn't been a
Smith.
fluid offensive
Yeah.
And the
system.
thing is, it still worked though at the same time. I mean,
Exactly.
you had guys like Brandon Jennings and DJ
and
Augustine,
see-
Reggie Jackson. It worked.
And that's what I love about Sam Van Gundy. The system does work.
Yeah.
It can win. I just don't know.
You need the right.
You need the guys. You do need the
it's
pieces
on the
and
guys
the
now.
guys.
It's not
on the
on
guys
Steve Van
now.
Gundy
Yeah,
anymore.
no.
Which people bring that up like, oh, Van Gundy needs to be fired because look what he's doing now. It's like, no, that doesn't make
I
any
think
sense.
Van Gundy's actually done
I think he's
He
done
shaped
actually
his
a
team
fine
from a
job.
garbage team into something great. He got rid of everybody that Dumars had except for Drummond.
Yeah, and like the whole KCP thing, I feel like he's so overblown, like on how good he is. Like
Yeah.
he wants way.
I mean, you can't teach height.
You can't. I don't take anything away from
Yeah.
him. I just think we can get better. I don't want to be shackled to KCP.
You know, we already
Yeah,
had money
for a
problems.
max deal, it
Yeah.
wasn't worth it.
We already had money problems. People were
no,
complaining
no.
about Drummond and Jackson.
And you
and
see
now
why the
throw
Lakers
KCP.
only gave him
Yeah.
a 1 year, 18 mil.
Yeah,
so.
they have the chance to get a whole bunch of better.
Well, I think that's because they're trying to get LeBron as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're in the same agency. They got the same agent. So that's a whole
Yeah,
different
guys,
topic.
Yeah, yeah.
guys always have the same agents. Yeah, all that
exactly.
stuff. But anyway,
we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. But no, definitely with like people bagging on him. We've talked about this before. The Drummond thing. You cannot bag on Van Gundy for Drummond, all right? Because the year Drummond had when he made the All-Star team, all right? You tell me if he goes, no, we're not signing you. What does he do
I
then?
mean, the crazy thing, if you look at the numbers leading up to that, and my dad also talks about guys playing on a contract year, they're going to play their best.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if he's a guy, he probably got his money and he's cool. He likes playing ball. He go hoop.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more he's going to improve, more how much more seriously he wants to take the game.
Well,
and get
let me
better.
tell you this. He seems to be interested. Okay, I love to hate him sometimes because you can see the lack of effort in his play.
That's what
many
frustrates
times.
me.
Yeah,
Right.
because you know he's good. Like there's like
My man is 6'11", 270. He's a bigger,
He's
stronger,
athletic.
wider
Exactly.
DeAndre Jordan, who's
Yeah.
got a body. So man,
and I mean like you can see all the things he has the tools all there.
He has all
He
the
just has to
intangibles.
put it together, and it's so frustrating when you see that. But in a recent interview, he said he vows to breathe new life into his game and be much more assertive in his game this upcoming season. Now, I'm not a big fan of like all the talk, players say I'm going to do great this year, but to hear Drummond come out and actually say that, while I'm not going to act like he's going to be great all of a sudden, I do like hearing that opposed to like just, I'm trying my best out there and I'm just getting those rebounds and just hustling.
Yeah, it gives some sign of life, gives the fans hope.
I do like the aggression. I mean, who are Ra. So I mean, guys are going to talk. But I think when guys talk about wanting to come in and having something to prove, maybe, and having a chip and wanting to come in,
and especially on the Pistons, the old bad boys, that's kind of what this town loves is like that
blue collar, work hard,
chip on the
dirty.
shoulder.
And you got him last year who was scared to go in the paint because he didn't want to get fouled to miss out the free throws.
Exactly. And so, I'm excited to see this. All right, like I don't understand how we had the second worst offseason. No, ESPN voted us on having the worst offseason in all of basketball, and that just blew my mind on how they can just think that. You're telling me we did worse than the Magic and like teams like that? Because I just don't see.
Yeah, apparently
it
just because they drafted a little better.
Yeah,
in
I
position.
just don't. I don't.
Well, a
see
lot of analysts thought that getting rid of KCP and gaining Avery Bradley wasn't
A smart move, and moving
right?
Marcus Morris.
Yeah.
And to me, I completely disagree. I think that was a great move. You
Marcus
get rid of-
Morris is good, but there's times where
I think it took space out from Andre Drummond because I think you need more of what they drafted.
shooters.
You need to stretch a guy around him. You don't really need a guy around the paint, but a guy who could rebound and a guy who could stretch out, he could throw to. Yeah, that's definitely good. for him.
Exactly, and you were one of the worst three-point shooting teams last year, all right? And you drafted Luke Kennard, who in the summer league shot about 50% from the three line. So I mean, that's a great sign. I don't know how you could not. Get
He's definitely
excited.
not afraid to pull it. He's definitely not afraid to pull it.
That excites the hell out of me. And then one thing I do like seeing, we're not gonna make a huge deal out of this. Stanley Johnson, 86 points was it?
Yeah, 86 points in the OVO
All right,
bounce game.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That's nice to see, and it's nice to see. What always kind of worries me about Stanley Johnson is I've never questioned can he do this? I've questioned if he mentally can do it because there's times where I just see him he seems hesitant on his shot. He doesn't seem to be all smooth and I watch him play in the summer league and stuff, and he seems very comfortable with himself. But then he gets out on the court during the NBA season, he seems a lot more afraid that coach is going to pull him, sit him, not take away his minutes. And so, what are your thoughts on that, John?
Oh yeah, and I've watched a lot of guys the last, I'd say 7 years since high school. So I've watched basically from their junior year, senior year up until they come to the draft. And Stanley Johnson's always been a very interesting take because he's always had the very athletic intangibles, NBA body for sure
Exactly.
coming in. He has game. His game's definitely just not based off that, but I think sometimes that can happen mentally when a coach, knowing in the back of your head,
Van Gundy's
oh
hard.
man, if I take this, yes. And Van Gundy's actually been known to be very hard on rookie and young players, so it didn't really shock me that any of these stories came out or he's not playing as much or his minutes are diminished. Veteran coaches are kind of like that sometimes. They want veteran guys to know what they're doing. They don't want rookies or second year guys coming out there not hesitant and
Exactly.
kind of messing up.
Yeah.
But I think I've always never questioned his game. He's always been able to play, especially with his peers.
Exactly.
I just think I don't know if he's been given the chance.
That's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like when you see at the end of the season or the blowout wins when he's playing, he seems to play a lot freer. Like at the beginning of the season last year, he played very tense and almost like he was afraid to play. And then we're getting blown out in these games, and you see him just knocking down a three with ease. You're seeing him run the floor a lot better. He can go up and down that floor in a snap and get to that rim if he really wants to. And that's what I want to see more out of him.
But I think I also want to point out this, like some of these guys are used to being the guy on their team. These guys have been playing ball since they were 4 or 5 years old, so they've always known they've been the best. And
it's different when you got to take a back seat.
Yeah, it's different when you have to take a back seat. Coming
Definitely.
in, top player at high school, top player at your college school, you're getting all the minutes, you're getting the buckets. Coming to NBA, you're thinking, hey, I'm about to light it up right now.
Yeah, that's what they all think.
But I also think, James Harden wasn't a story that came out, 21 averaging, 25 points. He's not doing what he's doing now. It's because
he's developed.
He's took a back seat. He accepted that 6-man role. He evolved his game. Yeah, he evolved his game, and then he got traded. Looks what happened. So I think if Stanley continues on working on his game, accept where he is right now, and just keeps moving, I think you never know the possibilities. A trade could happen. He could have more room there. He could have more freedom. He could, find a good spot. But
I want to see him do good.
I do. I think he's got talent.
He's a great player. He's a nice guy, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was more of just he needed to. I think he was 19 coming out of college.
Yeah.
He left after his freshman year.
Yeah, he's 19.
So to me, I think he just almost needed time to blossom more. It's like kind of
a lot of guys, honestly, doing
it's
the
like
NBA.
learn the NBA environment, kind
Because
of.
how old is he right now?
21?
Yeah.
Almost 22.
And Kawhi Leonard didn't come out the gate. Even him coming from a good system. Paul George didn't come out, straight out the gate.
It takes time.
It does take time for some of these guys to really come to the NBA and find their niche and to find their game. Sometimes it's a situation.
You'll know when that moment comes.
Oh, yeah.
For Kawhi, it was the playoffs.
And I think this year could easily be a breakout year for Stanley Johnson because there's rumors that he'll be a starter this year.
Yeah, I heard that.
So I think if he gets a chance to be a starter, he's got a good shot.
I think
to break
Tobias
out.
Harris, coming from the trade, hasn't exactly. I don't know. I wouldn't say disappoint me. He just hasn't done as well or intricate part of the offense as I thought he was going to be.
I feel like part of that has to do with coaching, though, because I see him shoots he's the best shooter on the team.
Mm-hmm. But if you remember his game in Orlando, it's like he had.
It was different because they had so many guards.
He got to put the ball on the floor. So I just don't think him being regarded to a spot up or getting the ball and one dribble, two dribble.
He's got to work on his game as well. But to me personally, I thought Tobias Harris was our best player last year.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
But I also think it just goes into chemistry. Guys the 5. They got to make a 5. They got to know their 5. Those guys got to come together. They got to play well. And they just have to know each other's game. Like, it comes with that. And I think if the Pistons get a 5, get the chemistry rolling.
Right. I mean, the players are there. Now it's just on them to make it work.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what I can't stand about, like, people bagging on the Pistons is, like, the exact roster. Like, what did you have them at, like, going into, like, last season? Everyone was like, they have the chance to get, like, a 4th seed and, like, a 5th seed. And, like,
I mean, this is the East we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
you could win. You could lose 30 games last year.
I mean, we were trash. We were bad last year, and we were still in it until the final 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, people who are saying this team isn't good, it's like, give it another year, let them reset, let Reggie go back at point, let them get ish with the second unit more. Stanley's had another year, Ellison's had another year. Give them one more chance, and then we'll go from there, all right? One bad season doesn't mean Van Gundy needs to be fired, Reggie needs to get traded, Drummond needs to get traded.
Yeah, blow the whole thing up.
Yeah,
we're done
exactly.
with it. We're done
because
with
that
it.
exact roster, at one point, you were, like, everyone was...
Hey, we could do it.
Yeah.
These guys challenged.
We went toe-to-toe with the Cavs.
They challenged Bron. They just challenged the champion. They made it hard.
They got swept, but it was the most competitive swept
Exactly.
we've ever
That's
seen.
same analysts say the same things.
Yep.
And
It was a fun. You know what? It was a fun series.
it was
to
a fun
watch.
series.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
you
care,
knew going in you weren't going to win, but I mean, you had a legitimate
They
chance to steal.
they had
a
a
game.
chance to win Game 3 to me. But
They had a chance to steal.
Kyrie
a game.
Irving stole it.
They should have won game 4 if it was because Reggie got that clear foul on their final shot.
I mean, just going into the series, you knew it was going to be an impossible
Yeah,
series. But
yeah.
at the same time, you look at the rosters and it's
You
like,
know-
we have a legitimate chance to steal a game. At least
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Especially with how
this one.
Reggie was playing and everything. They played great.
And Stanley Johnson even coming out saying,
Oh,
"I'm not
my-
afraid of
yeah, he
LeBron
was guarding
James."
LeBron
I loved
James.
that. That got
And
me
that's
fired
another
up.
thing about Stanley. He's not afraid
He's
of
hungry.
anybody. He's hungry.
Yeah.
I think opportunities sometimes need to be given to guys. I mean, even like Kobe, he was sitting on the bench for a little bit. Coach didn't really like to sit. Didn't like him. He was a young rookie. So I think sometimes opportunities got to be given. And maybe
Exactly.
if Van Gundy gives him one, we'll see how it rolls.
Yeah.
Right. So that's enough Pistons talk. We're going to jump into the Detroit Lions talk now. And so they're in training camp right now. A lot of people have been watching them. A lot of analysts have been really excited about some of these young guys. And one guy being Kenny Galladay. And he's really impressed so far at training camp. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
All right, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, Galladay, has to be one of the most interesting draft picks I think we've had.
Well, the thing is, he was drafted, what, third round?
Third
right?
round, 96
and
pick.
a lot of people trashed Quinn for that. They said, you picked a
I
wide receiver
remember
which we
that.
didn't need in a third round.
I remember the draft and them saying, "Whoa,
And he
wide
was,
receiver."
he was a guy from a school that's like a
Yeah,
he was in nowhere.
He's
Was
actually
it
he's
Northern
from
Illinois or something?
Northern Illinois.
Yeah, it was like, all right, well, what is this guy doing here? We can sign. Everybody's like, oh, we'll sign Anquan Bolden back, and we already got our main guys. So why are you drafting a wide receiver?
Exactly.
In the third round?
Now all of a sudden this looks a lot better. Now you're hearing everyone around the league talk about this guy as a red zone threat.
Yeah, well, Anquan Bolden has moved on to Buffalo
Exactly,
Bills
yeah.
now,
Right, as we saw today.
And
Yep.
Kenny Galladay's actually got some impressive stats. His his junior year he had 73 catches, 1,100 yards, and he had 10 touchdowns. So you see the double digits coming in. Like a real threat, 6'4", 215, big, solid. Not super fast, but that red zone
Got some
threat.
good hands.
And then even his senior year, he had 87 catches. He can catch the ball. He makes good catches. Big numbers, 1,100 yards again, 8 touchdowns. I mean, yes, he did this at a MAC school,
Yes.
Northern Illinois.
Take it for what it's worth.
The competition may not be what it is, but some of these
But you can't
guys,
ignore the stats.
some of these guys can play. Some of these guys can really play football.
Like
And-
I think when you got those types of stats, I think it'll make it easier for him to transition to the college level or to the national level because he's
used to a pro style system. He's used to verbiage.
exactly.
It's just
And
got
he's got the body. He's got
Yeah.
the talent for that.
He's got the mentality of I'm the guy.
And
I can do this.
I don't remember him having any injury history looking up.
Right.
on
No, he's
him
been
at
pretty
all,
healthy,
so he's
too,
pretty
so.
healthy. And I remember I was looking up just guys talking about him, and on the Twitter, and I even looked up Chad Johnson, who is to me in my eyes going to be a Hall of Fame receiver one day.
Absolutely.
So he was at was in Michigan.
Lions.
He's at Lions camp.
Yep.
He's watching the team. Even Rave said Kenny Galladay, this guy is going to be nice. So
Yeah.
taking that from a guy who's 15 years in the league, gonna have a jacket. That's playing some nice things. Saying some really nice things.
Yeah, that was really nice to see. And so here's how it was for me: I didn't want to buy into him. I was like, all right, this guy could be good, but I'm gonna wait and see. I'm not gonna start saying anything. But then I'm hearing reports out of Lions camp. He's doing pretty good, and then I'm seeing him catch buzz around town. I'm like, oh, maybe this guy can be something. Then all of a sudden, I'm seeing the NFL post about him. I'm seeing college football, fantasy football post about him, and I'm like, oh my god, is this guy actually going to be like one of the stars this year?
Yeah, and again, take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
It's only training camp, but I mean, he's got a lot of hype and he's got serious potential. So the ceiling is very high.
Yeah, I'll definitely say this playing football too. No, and I know guys who play college ball, and they know who can play. They'll always tell you that. They'll always tell you. The guys in the pros, they know who can play. They know who can really play and who can't. So when you're hearing guys talking about if the situations are right and everything works out, I'm not gonna say he's gonna replace Calvin.
Right.
He's got help back. We're gonna back in playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we got something here. Quinn's probably got a good goal and plan in sight, and maybe we should follow through. Give the guy a chance.
Yeah.
This isn't a Mayhew guy. This isn't a guy who. This
Right.
isn't Mayhew. This isn't a guy who's been here 20 plus years.
See-
Who's been in the franchise as a
that-
new guy.
That's what worries me about fans. They automatically think all these picks are just terrible.
No.
Like you read fans, they're like, "What a waste of a pick." It's like, listen, Bob Quinn isn't a loser like the Mayhew Millen era.
Yeah, this guy
All
comes
right?
from a great system.
Yeah, I gotta.
Patriots.
You gotta give everybody a chance.
Yeah.
I think that's just one of the things. We're so used to guys coming from inside.
Disappointing.
Disappointing, not really being the guy.
Yeah,
we
the
really
the
want.
SOL Lions mentality.
Same old Lions, losing. And I thought Mayhew was going to be different, but I'm not going to go too far into that.
Yeah,
but
we won't dive into that.
dive into that
That's-
topic. But
Yeah, it's been
an hour
I do
talking about
I do like the Quinn hire. I will say for
Absolutely.
the Lions.
I think he's doing a great job.
I do like his last couple drafts. I think he's picked smart. I think he's picked need. I think he depth. Yes, I think he
need
did pick that
first
from
and foremost, which is great.
I think his moves are good. So I think you give this guy, they give him a contract for a reason. Let him play
right.
out his contract.
And the thing is, a lot of fans, even last year, it's like, what did we need? We needed an offensive tackle, and that's what we drafted. We
Decker.
picked Taylor Decker out of Ohio State.
What a good pick.
And not everybody, but a lot of people still trashed that. It's
I know.
like why would you pick this guy when you could pick this guy? And it's like he went need, and it worked out great. I mean, he was one of our best players on the team last year. Granted, he's injured
He
now.
played all 16
but
games.
yeah, I mean, he was great last year, and you can't complain at that at all.
Yeah, and then hopefully when he comes back, we could see a
I mean, with the signing of TJ Lang, him moving inside, I think definitely gives
Yeah.
the Lions, good solid bodies and depth to move around if they wanted to.
I mean, the line's looking good. I mean, pretty solid. I mean, on paper, anyways.
On paper, teams always look good on
I-
paper.
So me and Brett did our podcast on the Lions record. We broke down the schedule and we went game by game, wins and losses. I just want, I want to hear from you, John.
Oh,
what
man.
do you think?
I got to look at the schedule. I wouldn't even have to know.
You know what? I'll bring it up for you.
I'll bring it up
right now.
on my phone.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll get enough signal.
Yeah,
but
so I think when we talked about it in the podcast, I believe I had my prediction at 8-8, and I think you had 6-8.
Yep.
And so I think we're kind of almost in the same spot. We had,
But,
it's a
but
very tough schedule though.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm going to tell you this: they were better. They're going to be better this year than last year, but the record will not show it.
Okay, I think am I getting the games?
If you don't, I can read them off for you right now.
No, yeah, I got them. Okay, so
It's Cardinals for the first one. Or
yeah. It's Cardinals,
Cardinals
Lions,
won.
us at home. I got to take us. Coming in, I know the Cardinals are very strong, but home team, first game of the year. I think we're gonna take that. That's got to be a strong game we can take.
Are you keeping track? Record?
I will right now.
I think we're going to lose to the Giants. I think they're going to come back strong, big receiving core. I don't think our defense can just match up well with them.
It's at Giants. I don't think Stafford plays very good outside.
It's early in the season, but
It
it's
is
nice
early.
out in Upper.
Yes.
It's nice out in Upper New York around this
Still,
time
I
of
think
year.
the Giants are a team forced to be reckoned
Oh no,
with.
yeah,
That
definitely.
defense is very
Yeah,
good.
they're in a very competitive.
Like, arguably got the best wide receiver core in the game.
Oh,
so.
definitely.
Falcons.
Defending NFC champions, Atlanta Falcons at home. It might have to be a loss for me. I think Falcons are too strong.
Oh, yeah,
they're
for
on
sure.
a mission. Lions at Vikings. Now this, I think I'm going to take the Lions on this one. I think we play the Vikings well on the road. Vikings may not be as strong with the moving of Adrian Peterson, the moving of getting a new running back, young guy, Sam Bradford maybe getting another year implemented in the system. Might be able to do some things, but I think we'll go over to take. I think we play very well against the Vikings. We match up well, so I'll take that. Panthers against the Lions. Oh man, Cam.
That's a toss-up.
That is a toss-up game. I always got to get some toss-up games. Toss-up games I got to give to the home team.
I never give the Lions a toss-up
I
game.
got to give the Lions the toss. I got to give them the home game just because they're at home. You got to give it to them.
That moves them to 3-2 so far.
Lions versus Saints. Now, historically, we don't play well on the road. We don't, and especially
against the Saints.
in New Orleans, we don't play well against there. So I'm gonna take that's an L right there.
All right.
Ooh, and then the Steelers coming to town. Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. That might be another L at home for the Lions.
3-4.
Now they have to go on road to Lambeau Field. I got to take an L on that.
All right.
But they come back home facing the Browns. Got to give them a dub on that.
Are you
They
sure
have-
about that one?
Yeah.
All right.
Now, usually when I see going to the Bears, I'm usually not scared. But
November.
the quarterback they picked, I'm not scared this
Yeah,
year. So
definitely.
I'll take the Lions at that one.
All right. 5-5.
Vikings and Lions. Lions at home. I got to go with the Lions at this one. Of course, play well. We're at home. We're going to take that one. Then we go back on the road to Baltimore. A very, very tough, hard-nosed team that's always hard.
We're also
very
Full
athletic.
of injuries so far.
But
this
I mean,
year.
that's also going to be a lot later in the season. So
It definitely is.
True.
That's what I'm looking at. It's gonna be later in the season. Joe Flacco's probably gonna get acclimated a lot better.
Right.
God, man. With all I don't think the Ravens are as strong in the division, but I don't think they're too bad. So
To me, that's a true toss-up game.
that is a true toss-up game. That's got to be one. But I got to give it to the Ravens because I always give the home team toss-ups.
Okay. 6-6.
Lions at the Buccaneers. Heisman quarterback Jameis Winston. It's Matt Stafford.
I have the Buccaneers as my dark rider this year.
Yeah, breakout team of the year in my opinion.
Yep.
Who? I think we actually could take that. Ooh, actually, if I look at it's later in the season. Team, actually, I'll take the Lions on that one. No, I'll take the Lions on that one. I like them playing in Tampa. They don't play too bad in warm weather.
Yeah.
Got them beating the Bears. We're at home again. I always got to take that. Then we come back to the Bengals. The Bengals are always a team that they're the only team that can get in the way, it seems like. But they're at home. Lions are on the road. I think the Lions can take this game. I think the Lions could play against them. Because I think the way the Lions have improved their offense. I definitely think they can play better against their competition. You know, they're not gonna have 24-3 and then blow a 18-point lead in the second half.
Yeah,
like they did most of the time last year, or having a record winning like our 8 games in the fourth quarter
comebacks.
Yeah, man. But Lions Packers, we're at home. I think we take that. I think we solidly take Green Bay.
Was that the last game of the season?
Last game of the season.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
I think we're strong enough because usually this is the game at the end of the season either we go over there, and it's very hard. It's been the last couple years.
And how I looked at it is that I think the Packers at this point will already be in the playoffs, so I think they'll kind of be resting their starters. So we got a good chance at winning.
So what do you got them at? 9-7.
You got them at 10-6.
10-6.
Yep, and then I have them at 6-10. So we're on opposite sides of the spectrum.
And I've got 8-8.
I like Stafford. I think fans rag on him a little too much. I
agree with that.
But I think a lot has been given to him, and he hasn't complained too much at all. He's taken it with a grain of salt. He's really taken it upon himself to, be a part of the city, be a part of this culture, take in Detroit, knowing what the Lions' history is, and trying to move past that. So
do you think the Lions should sign him back, Stafford?
Yes. I honestly, looking at it, what are you going to do?
To me, I think it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
You have to.
Honestly, you have to. What are you going to do? You look at the
quarterbacks taken over the last couple of years. It's been pretty bad.
Yeah, the draft class. That's the thing. They say the draft classes haven't been as strong because usually it's not a strong quarterback class. It's not a good class. Top tier quarterbacks haven't really been there. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what happened to developing guys in the league or something. I don't know that's what coaching is for. But for Stafford, for the number 1 pick, his value is very high, and he could succeed on any other team. I couldn't see that happening. I don't want that happening. Restarting is definitely a no-go for this team. Bob Quinn didn't sign up to restart.
Yes,
he came to rebuild and retool.
We've been restarting for too long.
All right. We have one more topic that we have time to touch on today, all right? And it's got to be the Jay Cutler getting signed by the Miami Dolphins. Okay. All right. What do you guys think is going on here?
Oh, man.
Is he better than Kaepernick for this system?
Yes, and the fact that he's already played a year under it.
Exactly.
He had his best season since he got to the Bears under, that system. So, I know guys want to take the stories of Kaepernick and move it here because, he's been blackballed, so-called, and not being a job. And it is kind of ridiculous. I mean, him not even being a second guy on the roster or even being on the roster. I'm not saying
he's a starter.
Yeah,
he's a backup.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
But I think Jay Cutler. It makes sense. It definitely makes sense. It's a good move for him. It's safe.
For me, I don't like it at all. I don't think Kaepernick fits that system.
So who would you get then if it wasn't any of those two?
I couldn't tell you that.
Fair enough.
I don't know who's all available, but I can tell you.
Not very much.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Considering they called Tebow and Kyle Orton.
I would have gone with Kaepernick if I had to pick him or Jay Cutler. Just because I feel like Jay Cutler's so far gone. Like, I feel like in his mind, he didn't think for a second he was coming to play another season in the NFL. I think his mind was fully committed until this injury. And I just feel like, for me, this is how I've always...
But I also will touch, he wouldn't have come back if it wasn't the situation.
Yes, exactly.
Right. The coach he's familiar with, the coaching staff he's familiar with, the system he's familiar with. So
and he wanted a decent amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, $10 million.
$10 million for 1 year.
$10 million is not bad for 1 year, especially the money he's made. Dude was the highest paid quarterback in the league for
Can't
time.
complain.
Can't complain at all. But, you're right. But
so I'm not gonna say that he can't do it there, but this is how I've seen it. I've always seen it, and I said the same thing with Anquan Boldin when it was this huge thing of if he wants to come back. I want a player from like the day off season starts that I know is training to be ready for my next season. And while that's not always the case, I want.
Well, the thing is, they didn't know Tannehill was going to.
Yes, I know that's why I'm not blaming Jay Cutler, but as the Dolphins GM, I would have to be hesitant just because. I don't know if he's worked out at all. Because I can't tell you what he's done in the offseason to prepare for this.
Probably not very much since he wanted to be a reporter.
Broadcaster, yeah. So I can't imagine that he's done too much in the offseason. So that's the only thing that really scares me. And I don't think Jay Cutler's that good, but...
I think the only... I think the only thing I actually think Jay Cutler actually is very talented.
Oh, yeah.
I've always thought
He's got talent.
I've always thought he's had the talent and everything to
He's just kind of
succeed.
he's past his prime, and it's just
Yeah,
he's always been on a losing team.
He's
for the
been in the
most
league.
part.
This will be his 11th year. He's been in the league 10 plus years.
I mean, he was
Oh,
always
God.
trashed on. It's like one of the highest paid, and you're on a Bears team that you can't do anything with. So
I always thought the Bears had such good receivers, though, that he should have gotten more done with. The only thing I've actually questioned is his heart in the game.
yeah, it always seems like to me he just doesn't care. He's
I
mentally not there.
always thought Jay Cutler probably got a little broken a little bit because I remember watching him in college and dude, man, he was. You want to talk about wanting to play? This guy wanted to play. Like he's playing for Vanderbilt. This isn't no big time school. He's going out there beating the Floridas. He's going out there playing Tennessee. You know,
And that's what you like to see.
and you know you like to see that. And he actually he really had that bright smile, that passion. That, you know, early in the game. I don't know if he's lost it somewhere around there, but. Yeah,
I think he is.
I won't say a guy who's played football who will never lose a love for it, but he might not have the same love for it. But I think with Adam Gase, he finds he can succeed and he'll have a good chance, and he'll have any better opportunity going out there in the league. Because starting over, new offensive coordinator, doing it again.
What do you think the record will be? Like if you just had to do a ballpark.
Yeah, man, they're in the AFC East, so
I'll give him a losing record.
they could
for
be.
sure.
To be honest, they could be second in the AFC East. But still they could be 9-7. They could be 8-8. They could be 7-9 around there. You know, probably.
I'll give him a losing record under 500.
I'd give him 8-8, 7-9. That's what
I'd give him
And I
that.
think, I mean, like you said, Jay Cutler's not a bad QB. I just think, like you said, I think he's just so far gone now. And I think, honestly, you should have in my opinion, I think you should have seriously considered Kaepernick. And we all know the reasons why. Teams won't come out and say it, but whatever team, if that team signs Kaepernick, they're going to get extremely ratted on. People are going to destroy them mentally, and Kaepernick's going to have a lot on his shoulders, and it's going to fall all on that team. It's going to be, why did the GM sign Kaepernick when he went and did this stuff that the league didn't like and all these other people didn't like? And
Understandable.
yeah, at the same time, I mean, he's got the right to do that, but yes, he did that, but at the same time, you can't blackball him for that. I mean, that's his
I
opinion.
I do think the whole Kaepernick
And that is what's
ridiculous.
happening, whether people want to admit it or not. He's
getting blackballed.
That's definitely what's happening.
because he's tried out for 3 or 4 different teams, and all of them said the same thing. Oh, well, he wants to be the starter, and he should be a starter in this league, so we're not going to have him as a backup.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you want to have a guy that's caliber of a starter as a backup?
Yeah. See, I don't mind. Like, okay, we all know why he isn't signed, but I think it's kind of his own fault. And I'm not talking about
It is, but at the same time, you can't hold that against him.
No, I'm not. The protesting thing is not what I'm saying is his fault, but I'm saying the fact, like, because he knew, well, I'm not saying he knew, but he pissed off so many people, and it's just as it was his right to protest, it's their right to protest him doing that. So, I mean,
But I also think it's a little ridiculous.
Of course it's
I think this
ridiculous.
is ridiculous in my sense of view. Even though he's not a star, if he was to do this in the NBA, I know it's a lot smaller, your roster's a lot smaller, less guys, but
more player.
it would be a bigger impact on the league to take offense of, okay, whoa, this player is saying something, we have to pay attention because our audience pays attention to what our players do. And I don't understand the unity with the NFL and maybe the NFLPA on getting guys to just having freedom of speech, having a message with not being ridiculed even by owners or management to diminish, have diminished value on you. I just don't understand it. I've never really gotten it. You're your own person. You are your own. You make your own choices. If he was a star and did this, would it be different? Of course, because he's a star. He's won.
See that's how I've always seen it. And you and me talked about this when it was happening because we were bashing the hell out of him for it.
Right.
We both agreed at the time when this was happening. This was his way of staying on the 49ers.
I thought that as well.
Yeah,
I thought that
that's
as well.
exactly what I thought. Because he knew he wasn't. I mean, he was getting benched for a guy that Blaine Gabbert.
Blaine Gabbert.
Who, I mean, we're not even going to get into how bad he is. But yeah, he knew that he was going to be gone. And
We're starting quarterback pick in the last 15 years.
He wasn't going to have a good chance of staying with that team. And
if he did that, yeah.
Right. So he's going to just do that and create hype.
But another thing that I got a bag on him for is the fact that he opted out of his contract.
That is another thing that was very strange to me.
Talked about enough.
Yeah, that in itself is you don't have a job. You did have one more year in your contract.
Yeah.
Now he wanted to be in San Francisco.
He didn't want to be there.
With the new management coming in, did they really even want Kaepernick as his problem. You know,
I don't think so. I think that's the main thing. Teams don't want to deal with.
And I
all
think
the
they
hate.
I think they had a mutual thing. He didn't want to be there. They probably
Yeah.
didn't want him
So-
there with the new regime coming in. So,
Right. They parted ways.
and he probably really did think he could get a job. He didn't think it was going
I
to
mean,
be exiled like
I
this.
would have thought he would.
I think he knew there was a chance he wouldn't get a job, but he did it anyways.
I didn't think he'd think he'd still be available at this point.
Yeah.
I did not. No, but I also kind of realized that he knew that when he said that he's done not
Right.
standing for the national anthem, because
He
then
knew the consequences were going to hit him
he's
hard.
like, he's like, all right, I gotta stop.
Yeah, he
this
knew
now."
what he did.
Yeah, so I mean, he knows where he's at. So I mean, it's just if you can play, you can play. That's how I've always.
I just
said.
think,
That's
like,
all I said.
I just think, like I said, it's the team.
I mean, Michael Vick-
They don't want to
Exactly.
deal with the criticism.
There's been a lot worse players, and yes, you know what? If people don't like you enough, then you know what? That was the choice.
You know, I will
made.
say this. I always thought if Kaepernick had won that Super Bowl,
It would have been different.
would he even have done?
Or if
any
Jim
of that?
Harbaugh didn't leave, it would have been different.
Would have been different.
Because if it
The
wasn't
thing
as
is,
bad
they
of
wanted
an
Harbaugh going. That's the only bad thing.
if it wasn't as bad of an ending for Kaepernick there, he'd be signed.
Yeah.
Because as much as people say that like it's because of what he did, it's because of what he did for the caliber type of player he is. Just like as a backup quarterback, you know, if you have all that controversy, teams don't want you. If you've gone to jail over like rape or something, teams
Yeah,
don't want you.
sexual assault,
Yeah,
battery.
you have to be the star.
I mean, look
You
at
got to be a
Rodgers.
guy. You got to be a guy who can play
Tier
and has
one.
talent. You have to have. As sad as it is, and I don't know if any women listen or are listening, but sometimes that's just the root of it. In a sport run by men,
Yeah.
owned by men, it's just things might get.
It sounds
shit.
bad, but-
Yeah, it sounds bad, but
That's the harsh reality.
yeah,
of it.
It's
that's the
business.
sad part about it. Yeah, it's
It's
business
business.
at the end
And
of
so,
the day.
and people that bag on Kaepernick for doing what he did,
And I will say this too. It being a white America, white media, it is kind of not good to have him on your team just on a.
exactly.
Just on the fact that it's going to get a lot of hate. It's going to get a lot of hate.
Exactly. And it's going to be teams are going to be more focused on like how are we going to deal with the Kaepernick in the actual season, and will the other players get along with him?
And I think he probably did make himself too much of a distraction with everything.
Thank you, because I had a debate in my public speaking class at CMU, right? And it was this huge thing where I was like, listen, if he wasn't causing this, like this huge problem, it would be fine, because like on game day, I can't have everyone going up to you going, so you sat for the national anthem, how's that going? No, I need people to be talking to you about what you're doing today. I need your mind, not about the statement you're going to make before the game. I need it about how you're going to get ready for this game. So, I mean, I think it just came down to a whole bunch of things fell in place that fell
Yeah,
perfectly.
fell in
not
place.
to-
Things happened. Luck of the draw. I mean,
Yeah.
So, do you think he will be signed before
No,
the season
I
starts?
honestly thought the moment
No.
Tannehill went down, I was like,
I thought that
that's
was
the
his
guy.
last shot. That was his last shot.
Yep.
Then when Cully got signed,
I
it's over
truly
for him.
believed
It was
that
over for him.
because now we know at that point they're going to pull everyone from everywhere. Tim
Everybody.
Tebow's going to come back at one point. I mean,
To me, I don't know. It's really a toss up. I mean, I can see it both ways.
before the season starts,
But I will
don't-
say this: before the season starts, injuries you never know going to happen.
Right.
Football's
Bearing
a
any
game.
injuries.
Yeah,
It-
bearing any injuries.
could
Football's
be
a game of
mid-season.
chances.
We could see an injury. So
But then you
we
also
never-
got to find a fit with him. Like, what system does he fit?
Exactly.
He's not a real thrower from the pocket.
But at the same time, if you got a garbage team that's had a garbage QB for years and years and years, I mean,
I
you
will say
can't-
this.
It doesn't
Yes.
matter. It doesn't
If-
matter
if
what kind
Brock-
of system it is.
If Brock Osweiler does not turn out for the Browns and start sucking, you better pick
Somewhat.
up Colin
Right. It
Kaepernick
doesn't, that's what
right
I'm saying.
there
Like
and
a
then.
team like the Browns or the Jets, who cares what system it is? Throw them in there because you got nothing to lose.
Exactly.
But then again, those teams want to suck. They want to be bad.
Yeah, I truly feel they don't care because they're in big markets. They're gonna.
Well, Cleveland sucks. New York don't care.
Yeah.
Well, New York really, they just can't. They're trying to draft a quarterback. To be honest, that's what they're trying to do.
That's what the Browns are doing too, and it doesn't work.
Yeah,
They picked so many bad picks, it just doesn't work.
but we're gonna wrap it up here. This has been a pretty long podcast, an hour and 10 minutes almost. John, thank you very much for coming on our show.
Hey,
Yeah,
thank
very
you for having me,
appreciated.
man. I appreciate you guys having me.
Will we be seeing you back?
You're gonna have to tune in and listen.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that.
All right, signing off for another episode of DST. This is episode 9. My name is JT Smellick.
And my name is Brett Hebel.
And I'm John.
Have a great day, everyone.